Once again, it's Lazar with Homemade Art Bulgaria, and this week I made a map of the iconic American lake Winnebago. I'll take you through the whole process and share some of what I found interesting about the lake and why I decided to make it. So a few weeks ago I stumbled on an article while reading on the Great American Lakes of a smaller lake in Wisconsin called Winnebago. The wiki got me really interested and I decided to try to make it into a laser map. First thing that got my attention was how old this lake was. It formed over 11,000 years ago, carved out by retreating glaciers during the last ice age. That's older than the pyramids. Going by size, it's a huge lake, by lake standards. It stretches 30 miles long and 10 miles wide, covering over 137,000 acres. That's bigger than some cities. It's also a hotspot for fishing. There's walleye, perch, and sturgeon, and in fact, it hosts one of the last places in the US where you can legally spearfish lake sturgeon. Let's check out the technical side as well. Some of the wooden sheets came out a little bit burnt from the laser, so I had to just clean them up with a little bit of soap water. It's a CO2 laser, so in higher power you do get a little bit of burn marks. Now time to prep my table. We have glue, water, some brushes, paper, and a little tray for the brushes. And here's our engraving layer. I have a file and some sandpaper here. I'm gonna need them to polish up the engraving layer a little bit. Any imperfections are going to be taken care of now before the glue-in phase. I should mention that I love this machine, it's really fun to work with. Anything I can't cover with it, I'm going to clean up with the hand file. Now we have our professional angle and our clamps. Taking up our first sheet, we're just going to lay it down and build up the map to see if everything is in order. It looks like everything is fine. Here I'm just tracing with a pencil the spot that I'm going to have to cover in some darker blue paint on the base layer. That way I don't have to cover the entire sheet in paint, just that one area. Now it's time to glue the second deepest layer. I have to be very careful so I can get the least amount on my fingers. And the clamps go on for about 15 to 20 minutes per layer. On this map, I did one layer at a time, but you could do as many as 2 to 3 before you clamp. Coming in the next day, we're back to work. I noticed at this point that some of the wood had gotten a little crooked, but I'm going to show you how I fixed that in the end. Now it's time to glue the second deepest layer. Always remember to keep your brushes wet whenever you're working with glue, because if you leave them out for about 15 minutes and that glue dries, you're gonna have to throw out the brush. And of course, going back to what makes this lake so interesting. Surrounding the lake you'll find marshes, wild rice, native wetlands. Those are preferred habitats of birds like eagles, herons, and even pelicans. So there's always something in the sky that you can look at. A big thing that got me interested was how the lake was used by local populations. Long before any Europeans arrived in America, this lake was the heart of life for indigenous people, particularly the Huncho Nation, known as the people of the big voice. The lake and the surrounding rivers served as highways, food sources, and spiritual places, teeming with fish and plants, vital for the survival of the people. Its name, Winnebago, comes from an old word for people of the stinking water. It refers to sometimes strong-smelling algae in the marsh conditions. At some point in the 1600s, French fur traders arrived, navigating through the Fox and Wolf rivers, which connect to Lake Winnebago, using it as a key trading route between the Great Lakes and the Mississippi. The lake became a hub of economic activity, and it was a part of the reason that the surrounding area managed to get so much development done. At some point by the 1800s, towns like Oshkosh and Fond du Lac and Nina, I believe, if I'm pronouncing these correctly, grew along the shores. One of these towns, Oshkosh, became known as the sawdust capital of the world, and it used Lake Winnebago to transport logs during Wisconsin logging boom. It also has a lot of cultural significance as well. There's ice fishing festivals, sturgeon spearing traditions, and lakeside gatherings that have been part of the local life for generations. Over the centuries though, Lake Winnebago has been reshaped as well, not just physically by dredging and shoreline development, but ecologically as well, by pollution and sadly invasive species as well. And yet it remains a central identity marker for the region. Locals don't just live by the lake, they live with the lake, if I were to quote an article I read about this. Here I am gluing in the frame. This is the last part of the map before I do some finishing touches. Clamp it up and give it another 15 minutes. Now time for the fun part. I get to sand the whole thing with this machine and it's super relaxing to do. Now, as you've noticed, I've switched up to a bigger machine. This one is way more powerful, and for the amount of sanding I needed to do, I needed to use something tougher. Here I am checking with my fingers if I have achieved smoothness. Particularly hard around the edges. Here I am sanding some tiny imperfections inside the map and on the frame. Now it's time to apply a coat of matte on the back. And a clear coat on the front. This really brings out the colors and it makes it easier to clean. At some point I noticed that the map became a little bit more crooked with each layer, so what I'm gonna do here is actually clamp it down to get it to straighten up a bit. As you can see, I'm putting a little bit of wood in the middle and trying to bend the map around it. I've also placed tiny pieces of wood on the frame so I don't hurt it with the clamps. One last thing I decided to do is use some of this clear honeybee based wax on the side of the map to bring out the wood colors a little bit more. I did this with a simple paper towel. If it goes on the front, it doesn't really matter since it's a clear one. And here's the finished product. It took me the better part of a day, but I'm really happy with how it came out. This was really exciting for me as somebody who's interested in both history and geography to research this lake and to make this map commemorating it. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and also leave me a comment if you would like me to do some research on another cool lake or mountain or something, and make another map out of it. Hope you had fun and see you next week.